Hello, everyone. We are here to give the presentation on computer forensics on behalf of assessment item 2. And we are of 3 group members, me, Vivek Pokhel, my friends Ememul Khatimbang and Saruk Saik. Next slide, please. We have the first outline. In the outline, we have first case description. It focuses on how what the case is and how it gone. And secondly, we have criminal and forensic investigation types used, and it followed like who are involved, processing of a crime scene, types of evidences used, forensic tools to investigate the case, and comparative study, and conclusion, and at last references. Next slide, please. Yeah, in the case description, we have one person, Rito Llamas-Juarez. He found unconscious with at least one gunshot in his chest, and it was identified by Indiana Metropolitan Police Department officer on 29th of February 2016. And all the evidences pointed to Larry Thomas as the suspect. And on 11th of March, he was arrested by the police in shooting death of 50-year-old Rito Llamas-Juarez. Larry Thomas was found guilty of murder on 17th of May 2018 by examining all the evidences, and all the evidences doesn't go in favor of him. And at last, the Thomas was sentenced to 60 years in prison. Next slide, please. We have here criminal and forensic investigation types used. It involves the different process. We have first criminal investigation process. In this process, we have 3 parts. First is investigating, another is arresting, and the last one is court proceeding. In investigation, it involves the establishing whether an arrest is necessary when a crime was committed. A suspect is known and the evidence is collected after confirming the crime. And in arrest, the suspect is arrested by the police or by some officers. And the court proceeding is after the arrest. The punishment is made by the decision of the judge in the court, and all the evidence is gathered and presented to the court, and judge decide that how to go forward with that case. Next slide, please. Another one is forensic investigation types used. We have here forensic investigation types used, in which we have computer or cyber forensics, crime scene forensic, forensic science, and forensic pathology. Basically, in criminal investigation type, forensics type, we have computer or cyber forensics. According to this one is like similar to the electronic discovery. To solve a crime or find evidence of bad behavior, these forensic investigations recover data from computers and hardware. It goes like that. And another is crime scene forensics. In crime scene forensics, it's like investigation as the documenting and gathering of physical found at the crime scene, with the purpose of solving whether a crime has occurred or not. Like it includes the analysis of all the investigators involved in that process to collect all the evidences to ensure that it is the good evidence and relevant evidence. So, and the forensic science, it is like the scientific process which we can involve in the crime to solve the crime problems. It can be DNA coding or related to bodily fluids, drugs, etc. And the last one is forensic pathology. The forensic pathology is like performing um, it involves like observing both outside and inside of the victim. Um, it means that outside means that outer part of the body, inside means the inside internal part of the body. It's like there may be the bullet points and blows and any types of marks on the outer part of the body. We have to investigate that outer part of the body, observe that, and forensics team will examine that, about like what types of bullet is that uh, and from which gun that bullet is from. So investigation teams, the forensic teams are will be doing all those things. And another thing is like looking inside the body, like which inside which organ it is, and does it hit the stomach or does it hit the liver or something like that. Yeah, that's it for my part. The next of the slide will be presented by my friend Saruk. Thank you.
Yeah, coming to the persons who are involved in this crime, there are several terms that law of enforcement officers use to describe the people involved in a crimes, such as suspect, person of interest, and perpetrator. First, let's discuss about the victim. The victim, on the other hand, has defined as a is someone who experienced crimes such as robbery, violent attacks, family violence, sexual assault, and resulted to physical, physiological, or emotional injury or financial loss. A person who was injured or killed and got witnessed by a person or family member is also considered to be a victim. Next slide, please. Yeah, as discussed, there are several terms in the law of enforcement officers use to describe the people involved in crimes, like suspect, person of interest, and perpetrator. Firstly, suspect is a person who committed the crime or someone who is accused of committing the crime, and person of interest is someone who authorities believe may have the relevant information to the crime, or perpetrator is someone is unknown until someone is convicted of the crime on legal basis. Um, One second, go back. On our case, can you go back? Uh, in the figure one, Larry Thomas is shown, and in figure two, in figure two, Larry Thomas was shown. In figure one, Rito Llamas-Juarez is shown, and Rito is called as victim here, and Thomas is shown as considered to be the person of interest after gathering all the evidences. The authorities tagged him as the suspect that led to his apprehension. He was conducted as the perpetrator after the announcement of the sentence. And next, yeah, coming to the processing a crime scene. Processing a crime scene is complicated due to its long and tedious process that typically involves decisive documentation of the circumstances at the scene and gathering all the possible physical evidences that could lead to shedding on what happened and identify who did it. At any given incident, a crime scene investigator might need to collect bodily fluids such as uh, blood from a window without touching it, or without touching with hands, or leave any marks that could alter the evidences. And like, yeah, actually processing a crime involves 7 steps of crime investigation, such as identify scene dimensions, which is local for focal point of the scene, or establish a perimeter large enough to contain relevant evidences. Second one is establish security, collect tape around the perimeter, or depending on the number of people, consider security guards. Third one, create a plan and communicate. Uh, Determine the type of crime that occurred, or determine any threat to evidence, such as whether, considering if additional resources are necessary, or communicate with your team or about to how to proceed or what to do next. And coming to fourth one, conduct primary survey. It is something like identifying potential evidence or capturing photographs and taking good notes about the incident or the area. And coming to the fifth one, document and processing. This is something like using a plan from step 3, begin processing the scene, collect all evidences and keep detailed documentation. And the sixth one, conduct secondary survey. This is conducting another walkthrough to ensure everything has been processed and recorded uh, accordingly. Yeah, and seventh one, record and preserve evidence. This is using an inventory log to account all the evidences, create through descriptions that match photographs taken at the scene, or follow a clear chain of custody throughout the investigation. And these all like while processing all this scene, there are few people at the scene. There are like police officers, CSI unit, district attorney, medical examiner, specialist, detectives, and maybe some other few. Yeah, next slide, please. Yeah, following those mentioned procedures, the authority of the murder case were able to immediately identify the persons involved in the crimes as well as evidences needed for the suspect apprehensions. So the types of evidences used are uh, like direct and circumstantial evidence, physical versus biological evidence, reconstructive evidence, or associative evidence. Direct and circumstantial evidence is something like while direct evidence establishes a fact, the circumstantial evidence requires that a judge or jury to make a indirect judgment or interfere about what happened. Physical versus biological evidence is something like physical could be the non-living or inorganic items such as fingerprints, bullets, and shell casings. Biological, on other hand, includes the organic things like blood, saliva, urine, hair, and other any botanical matters. And coming to reconstructive evidences, these are evidences like which came from shoe prints or blood splatters or bullet trajectories and may lead where the room everyone is located and exactly how the sequence the events of a crime happened. And coming to the last one, associative evidence is this ties the suspect to the crime scene, the victim, or any other evidence. A suspect can be linked to the scene through fingerprints, footprints, hair, blood, and other bodily fluids, as well as other objects and substances. Yep, next slide, please. Yeah, and uh, in this case, EC Council mentioned that several evidences that lead to suspect. They are like fingerprints on the iPhone box, which belongs to Thomas. So the offer of publication which the uh, Llamas-Juarez and Thomas used to communicate for the iPhone sale, and a user named Slagtohai Laro on Facebook and had a profile picture of Thomas with AR-15 style assault rifle and has some photos with the bracelet that was found on the crime scene, and AR-15 style ammunition found on the Lamas Torres and at Thomas house were all these considered as the evidence found for the respected crime. And from the next slide, my friend Emanuel will go ahead and explain about the case briefly.
Thank you, Sharu. So we identified 3 forensic tools to investigate the case. These are the magnetic fingerprinting and automated fingerprint identification, or AFIS, oxygen forensic suite, XRY mobile forensics tool. So oxygen forensic suite and XRY mobile forensic tools are pretty much the same. They are the tools that is required to unlock mobile devices such as Android and iPhones. Through this, even deleted data such as call information, SMS, MMS, and images can be recovered. Court jurisdiction. The case happened in the US, so it is under the court jurisdiction of the US. It was sentenced through the Court of Appeals, which is one of the district courts in Indiana. So from the district court, going to upper district court, then going up to the district courts of Indiana. We also had comparative study with the other group. So the other group case studies about the murder of a young girl in Germany. So they actually identified 2 forensic tools, which is pretty much the same as what we've identified to unlock mobile devices and computer devices. They've mentioned OS forensic and encase tool. So similarly, the mentioned tools are also capable of uncovering encrypted passwords. Thus, these investigators will be able to access the suspect's computer and mobile devices. In conclusion, the crime and investigators gather and analyze evidences in various ways. So every bit of evidence in a crime scene is critical to the conclusion of the crime. Furthermore, it is prevalent that the cyber forensic tools play an integral part in crime and forensic investigation. Thank you, everyone.